So the first activity for this week's lab is going to be doing an alternating flexion and extension and taking a look at the coactivation by measuring the EMG amplitude for the biceps and triceps during either a biceps or a triceps contraction. Okay, for this week's lab, the first activity we're going to take a look at is going to be alternating activity and coactivation. We're going to be using, again, our PowerLab system and our LabChart software with a variety of connecting devices associated with it. So the first cable that you're going to need to be able to find is going to be a 5-lead shielded bioamp cable. And so basically it's got 5 electrical leads associated with it. It's got clips at the end, which will allow you to clip onto electrodes when you're ready for that. And then it's got, again, a DIN connector to attach to the PowerLab system. This is going to connect up into the bioamp portion of it, and so it's on the far side of the amp. Once again, it's got a groove in the connector, so it should only fit in one way. You're going to be able to put that in, and then we're all set with that. Make sure everything is hooked up and connected up before you turn on the LabChart software. If we take a look at the other equipment that we're going to use, at least in this first activity, we're going to use some electrode gel to increase the conductivity between our skin and the electrodes. We're going to use disposable electrodes, and so you can peel these off and put them in the proper location. And then, if necessary, we've also got skin cleansing swabs. We've got some alcohol wipes, as well as this abrasive cream for basically taking off like sweat or anything that might be on the skin, again, to get you a little bit better of a connection. We're also going to need the dry earth strap. This is simply just a Velcro strap with a connector so we can hook the electrode wire to that. And this is going to serve as a ground for the activities that we're going to be doing. Okay, so once we're ready to hook up our volunteer to the system, you're going to want to potentially use a little bit of alcohol to wipe off the skin where you're going to be connecting the electrodes. So take a wipe out here. And do it on the biceps and on the triceps. Ideally, try to get it on the meat, the large portion of the biceps. And then you want to take your electrode gel. It's a little bit harder to do with one person. But basically peel the electrode off. You can see that it has a little bit of adhesive. Put a very small drop of the electrode gel on that, on the dot where it's going to be having the electrode. And what you want to do is put 2 of these electrodes on the biceps. So again, a little bit of electrode gel in the location where you've got, oops, I figure out where the camera is. In this position right through there. So you can see a very small amount of electrode gel in this, see if I can figure out how to do it, in the center portion right there. Okay, so we've got 2 on the bicep, I'm sorry, 2 on the triceps. Do the same thing with the biceps. And then you want to put the dry earth strap around the wrist. Again, this is a Velcro strap, and so what you want to do is basically ground the individual. But you want to make sure that the electrode portion of this is in contact with the skin. And then we take the wires, the shielded lead wires from our 5-lead shielded amp. If we take a look at this, we can see it's reversed, so that makes it a little bit more challenging. But basically, channel 1 are the black and the white. Channel 2 is the red and the black. We're going to attach up channel 1, so the black and the white wires. Again, hopefully they're not too twisted up for you. And it might be better to untwist this before you start the demonstration. Okay, and basically what we're going to do is channel 1 is going to be the biceps, so the black and white wire, and you're just going to snap it in to the electrode. You can hear it snap in. Channel 2 is the red and the brown. So we take the red and the brown electrodes. And then untwist them. And hook those up to the electrodes on the triceps. And then that should leave you with the green electrode. And the green electrode is going to be attached to our dry earth strap. Once you have the cables connected up, you're going to be able to turn on the PowerLab system and then start the LabChart software. The LabChart software will open up into the Welcome Center. What you're going to look for is EMG settings files. Again, depending upon how it's set up, it may be in the Getting Started folder, or it may be in a Human Physiology folder. This one is in the Getting Started. Click on that and then look over for the co-activation settings. Click OK if you get that error message, and then increase the view, take it to a full screen view. What we want to do is then connect up the electrodes to our test subject and then take a look at making some recordings. Okay, once you're starting or ready to start recording, what you want to do is hit the start button on our LabChart system. And then have your volunteer basically go to alternating movements. And so ideally kind of taking the biceps and contracting the biceps as forcefully as you can, ideally without stimulating the triceps. So you do the biceps for a period of time, relax, and then because we're looking at alternating activities, then put your hand underneath. In this case, put your hand underneath and then potentially try to extend your arm. And so you're contracting the triceps at that point. So again, take a break, go through, and again, trying to do this. Actually the biceps. And so basically try to kind of flex your arm, but provide a fair amount of resistance to that. The more resistance you provide, the better trace you're going to get. Again, that was the biceps. Take a little bit of a break and then stimulate the triceps. Again, trying to extend it so you're pressing against the hand. And hopefully you're going to see nice alternating activity. So the first activity, basically kind of relax the arm, give us a baseline. The first activity is going to be contracting the biceps. So attempt to flex your arm as much as possible, holding your arm in resistance. Give it a little bit of a break, put your hand underneath that, and then try to extend it by contracting your triceps muscle. And going through, we should be able to see good alternating activity between the biceps now, the gap, and now the triceps. Relax, biceps, Yeah, we're getting a little bit better measurements now. Relax, triceps. Okay, so what you can do when you're ready to analyze this, you can either go through and pick some points and figure out, kind of what is the peak during these different regions, or you can use the data pad view. So in this case, kind of highlight a region there. So good triceps contraction there. Go to our data pad view. You can do it either as the mean or the maximum value, just to indicate what it is that you're using to report this. I'm going to change it back to a maximum value. So in this case, go and add that. This gave us, for our triceps contraction, a maximum voltage millivolts of 0.63 for our triceps, 0.55 for our biceps. If we go and now go back into chart view, and instead of choosing a triceps contraction, we choose a biceps contraction. So basically this region up here. Now click data pad view, add to data pad. And we can see in this case, during our biceps contraction, we had 0.50 millivolts, where our coactivation of our triceps was only about 0.03 millivolts. So do that for a number of the alternating contractions, and then enter the data on your lab report. The second activity in this week's lab is going to take a look at muscle stimulation, where we're going to look at the twitch response, recruitment, and summation. So a slightly different setup than what we've got right here. But basically the idea is that we're going to be stimulating the median nerve and looking at the twitch response caused by contraction of the muscles within your thumb. And we're going to be measuring that by the thumb basically pressing down on our pulse transducer. So for the second activity of lab, we're going to take a look at another example of muscle stimulation, looking at twitch response, recruitment, and summation. So for that, we're going to use a couple of things. So again, still using the PowerLab system. We're going to use our good friend, the pulse transducer here. Pulse transducer is going to go into input 1. So put that in like we've done before. Again, we want to take and use the pulse transducer as a device to measure. And so what we want to do is kind of put it down with the diaphragm up. Basically, we are going to rest our hand kind of lightly above it, and then measure the response when we're stimulating it. So we're going to need to get a little bit of a piece of tape to tape this into place. Cut these ahead of time. We'll do like one there. One across there. So it's in good place. It's not going to move around a whole lot. And we can basically kind of rest our thumb above that, resting it lightly over there. In addition to that, we're going to use a stimulating electrode. And so, again, this will be in the PowerLab setup. And it's basically got a series of wires that are all twisted up. Hopefully yours is not as twisted as mine. But in essence, we're basically going to have a red connector and a black connector. If you take a look on your PowerLab system, on the front of it, we've got an isolated stimulator. You want to take the black connector, put it on the black side, take the red connector, put it on the red side, and then ultimately, once everything is hooked up and ready to go, then you want to turn on the PowerLab system in the back, and you can turn on the isolated. Once all that is set up, you can open up the LabChart system again. Just double click on the LabChart. This will bring you to the Welcome Center. In this case, we want to look for muscle stimulation and fatigue as the activity. And then what we want to look at are going to be the stimuli settings here. So settings file for exercise 2, twitch response, and recruitment. So double click on that. and this will pop open our stimulator window here. Okay, so once everything is hooked up and ready to go, you want to take the stimulated electrode, place it over where the median nerve would be. Once you've got the electrode in place, you're going to open up the stimulator window. It should pop open when you go to your settings. You're going to rest your hand kind of grasping the countertop, your thumb resting kind of slightly above, just resting on the pulse transducer. I'd recommend going up to maybe 10, 12 millivolts as a starting point. Make sure you're in the right position, and you hit the button. And you can see then a result of this 12 milliamp, we were able to see a little bit of a twitch occurring there. We're going to take this up to 14. So it can work. Stimulator. Okay, so I was not able to both record and serve as the subject for this portion of the lab activity. And so I'm using the Twitch response data file that's available to you on Canvas. And so what we've got, again, you should see something like this on your screen. We've got the stimulus intensity down here on the bottom. We've got the response up here on the top. You can see basically we're seeing a response here at 5 milliamps with this test subject. So at that point, you back down a little bit. So we're starting here at 4 milliamps and basically have no response. 4.5, we're seeing kind of a little bit of response, and basically more and more response as we go to the higher amplitudes. Now, if you'd like, you can again auto scale this. So put your cursor over the top channel. Right click on it and auto scale the channel, and this makes it a little bit easier to take your measurements. And basically what you're going to want to do is go through, use the marker, and so kind of going in here at 4 milliamps, we put it here at the starting point, right click on it, set the marker, and then we can drag this to where it needs to be, and then using the cursor itself, kind of move to whatever the peak would be. Now the peak is going to be up here in the corner. It's saying no sampling now, again, because my cursor's over here. But you can see up there in that corner that it's saying, maybe 0.5 millivolts, but probably minimal at that point. You would record that in the lab report, grab the marker, move it to the next one. So we're looking at 4.5 milliamps of a stimulus. We've got the marker set here. We go to the peak with our cursor. And in this case, we're looking at a change of about 3.8 millivolts. Record that, go to the next one, and continue on. In this case, we move the marker, put this on the peak, and we're up to about 9 millivolts. As you go through, ultimately you're going to get to the point, I'm going to auto scale this again, and we haven't reached plateau yet at this point, but you can see basically that this is going to reach a level, probably the way it's going, probably about 10 or 11 milliamps for this individual, where it's going to stop increasing. And so that would be basically that we've activated all the motor units at this point and all of the muscles fibers. And so getting maximal contraction at that point. Again, I apologize I wasn't able to do this with live data, but hopefully this will be a good overview for what you need to do in lab this week. Thank you, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me or to your lab instructor. Thank you, and have a great week.